Hi there, Jean Greer here at Stylish Fireplaces. Today I want to introduce you to the Revillusion series of log sets. That is the RLG20 and the RLG25, which is sitting beside me. So a log set is pretty much what it sounds like. It's a set of logs that is made without a box around it. So the box that you see here is a box that we had made to display a log set and some custom doors. Normally you're buying just the log set and it would sit into an existing hearth, an existing fireplace. So if you have a wood burning fireplace that you're no longer using to burn wood and you want to convert it to something other than that, or not have a black hole that you look at, you would put a log set in. So this is the RLG25, the larger of the two sizes that are available. It comes standard with what they call the ash mat. So these glowing ashes below the grate come standard with the 25. On the RLG20, that ash mat would be purchased separately. And obviously the 20 and the 25 refer to two different sizes, being the width of the unit generally that they refer to when we're talking about a log set. One of the things that you'll notice about the Revillusion log set is there's a lot more here than just the logs. So you'll notice this oval piece of plexiglass in here. So if you remember on the Revillusion RBF series insert, that glass would be contained in a rectangular box and it would fill the back of the unit and it would have some sort of a pattern on it. Obviously with a log set, we don't have a box around it, but somehow they need to incorporate the technology of the Revillusion into the log set. So they came up with this oval piece of plexiglass. What they call that is their Mirage Panel. So the Mirage Panel allows us to see through, and that's part of their through view design. So it allows us to see through the logs at the front, through the panel, and into a secondary set of logs. So it really does appear as if those flames are in the center of the unit, because they are. They're being projected on the Mirage Panel. This has some light features that we can adjust, which I'll attempt to show you. It's a little bit tricky to see sometimes when you're not sitting here in person. And they have a 360-degree flicker effect. So the remote looks like this. It's a small remote, not a ton of adjustments, but there are some fun things you can do with the flame. So the 360-degree button is meant to add flickering lights all around, as if when this is sitting in, if you had a real fire inside your hearth opening, of course the light would be bouncing around the inside of the opening. And so they've created that 360-degree flicker effect to mimic that. And then there's a brightness feature, so I can control the brightness of the logs and the ember bed. And then there is a color palette here. So there are 2 or 3 colors we can add to the logs below the flame. So blue, for instance, which is available on the Revillusion inserts as well, which helps us to get the effect of a gas flame, which would be blue at the base. Red, which just enhances the warmth of a natural flame. And then there's a sort of a golden orangey color. Bit tricky to see those here. You can see with the blue turned on, you're getting a little bit of that blue cast in the Mirage Panel. The red and the gold, a little bit trickier to see. I can see them looking down here. Bit tough to show you, but just know that there are some color options to enhance the flame. The logs are what they call real logs, so they've been molded from actual hardwood logs, and of course they're a ceramic material or a molded material, and they've been set up on a grate to look as if these logs are obviously burning on a grate. The logs can be replaced, much like on the Revillusion inserts. You now have the option for birch or fresh cut, so you can order this with either of those logs inside. These logs will glow from within. These are the standard logs. When you get the birch and the fresh cut, there isn't that inner glow when the logs are burning. So it's a different look. But if you don't think you're going to turn it on that often, the birch and the fresh cut actually look quite natural sitting in the grate. And if that appeals to you, that might be the way to go. The other thing I want to point out is there is a heater on this, so the heat would blow out under here, so it's quite hidden. It's a heater with a blower, as always with an electric, and the heat has a low and a high setting. Of course, you can have the logs going without a heater on, as with all electric fireplaces. You don't have to have any heat at all. If you don't need heat in the room, don't turn the heater on. You can always enjoy the flames without the heater, so it's year-round enjoyment. And the other thing I want to point out is that oval at the back, in certain light conditions, can be quite visible. But what you'll notice here in our showroom, we've put fireplace doors and a screen on this box. And I want to show you what happens as you add layers to this. So I really like this behind a screen. And if you've already got a screen on your existing wood-burning fireplace, I would suggest that you keep it or replace it with a newer one. It really helps to seal the deal. It really helps to continue the effect of having a real wood-burning fire here. And as I add yet another layer with the glass doors, which fireplace doors tend to have tinted glass, you can see that the flames get a little warmer. You're seeing my reflection, but it's nice to have something in front of a log set. So don't be tempted to just put it into the opening and leave it like that. We really do recommend that you treat it as you would your wood-burning fire. So if you have old doors, replace them. If you have a screen, or just buy a newer screen. During the winter months, those are quite prevalent in certain furniture stores, and we can certainly help you with that as well. But well worth the investment of having a screen. These are the mesh doors that come behind the glass fireplace doors when you order fireplace doors. And just that, you get the impression of how it adds a little more depth to the log set. So again, this is the Dimplex Revillusion log set, RLG25. It also has a smaller unit, the RLG20. You can find it at stylishfireplaces.ca under Dimplex, or if you're shopping by style, you can look under inserts and log sets.